In this video, I'm going to talk about the results of my first tire test. So I've been busy for the last 2 days testing some tires. These guys at Megahjul, they wanted me to test these Nereus tires against various other tires, popular tires. So the test setup is that I used a Tesla Model S 100D, actually this one that they provided, because right now Optimus Prime is being repaired. So I'll come back to that with another episode, by the way. So as usual, I start from one point and then I travel to another point. I go from A to B and then back to A again. So that's how you eliminate any elevation advantage, any wind advantage. Yeah, so the route is about 20 kilometers long, 12 miles or so. And the speed I chose was 80 kilometers per hour, 50 miles per hour. So that is fairly low, but I mean, most people might travel faster, but it depends, if it's like a mix of city and highway driving. Now I chose this fairly low speed because at higher speed, wind resistance will be more significant, and then you will see less difference between the tires. So I want to try to emphasize the difference in the tires. And I didn't use auto steer, so I steer manually because auto steer kind of makes some extra noise, and I was also measuring the noise. And as usual, I warm up the car, both the cabin and also try to warm up battery and motors before the test. So I actually had to drive over an hour in order to test this. And also between the tests, I CHAdeMO charge up so that we have somewhat similar state of charge, because if you have kind of low state of charge, then the voltage will be low, and then the current has to be higher in able to output the same power. So that means more loss. So yeah, to make it equal, I have similar state of charge. The surface on this day was wet tarmac, which is very common in Norway. Now I actually did the test over 2 days, but I wasn't happy with the test in the first day. So I kind of almost scratched it, and I went, on the today. And outside temperature today was hovering around 0 degrees Celsius, which is also pretty common around Norway. We had freezing temperatures. That was a rare case. And cabin temperature was set to 22 degrees Celsius, which is also very nice and comfy. And I had range mode off because I suspect that, I expect most people to have it off. We're not going to do any crazy eco run here, except for the speed, but I already explained that. And the tire pressure was set to 48 psi or 3.3 bar, which is about 10% higher than recommended, because actually the tire manufacturers, they recommend over-inflating about 10% for the winter tires. Yeah, so we do as they recommend. So we tested 4 tires. Well, actually, I did all the testing. Megahjul, they provided me with the car and the tires, and then I did the test my way. Yeah. So the first tire is the Nereus NS805 Plus. Now the one that's the one for this car, for Model S, but the one for Model X is called 806 or something. Yeah, it was similar with this SUV tire. And this one, according to the EU branding, it's energy E. So A is the best, and then F is fail, right? So E, it's pretty bad according to the EU measurement, and the noise level is 67 decibel. The next one I tested was Continental Viking Contact 6, which is also pretty common. That one was in the Ioniq. That one was also in the new Nissan Leaf, and I haven't noticed other cars using it. So this one has better energy rating, C, which is pretty good, right? But the noise is 72 decibels. So according to this one, it's kind of noisy. The next one is Nokian Hakkapeliitta R2, which is a very common, very popular tire, especially among Teslas. I think by default, if you buy it, you will get these with the car. So it has a whopping energy rating B, which is very high. Noise is the same as the Continental, 72 decibel. And also the last one I tested was a Nokian Hakkapeliitta 8, which is the one I have on Optimus Prime right now. It is studded tires. All the other tires are studless, so we throw in a studded tire just to compare. And also it's relevant because I use it on Optimus. So, if you look at this table here, you see that we have all these ratings, and unfortunately for the Hakkapeliitta 8, I couldn't find any EU rating for it. So I don't know. I tried to look everywhere, but I couldn't find it. So whatever, yeah. So I tested it. It's really hard to test it properly because we have traffic going on. So I tried to go on a time where we had less traffic, but anyway, I think the result here, I mean, you could always tweak it or whatever, and you can get different results. But this was like the closest to I don't know, the fair test as possible. And Nereus managed to get 192 watt-hour per kilometer, which is okay, right? But if you look at the other ones, Continental 186, and then Hakkapeliitta R2 is 180 only, and then Hakkapeliitta 8 is surprisingly Hakkapeliitta 8, the studded tires, has lower consumption than the Nereus. So the Nereus is the loser here with highest consumption of them all. I didn't expect this because the guys at Megahjul, they have done a measurement, but that was on dry tarmac, and that was on only 1.5 kilometers. I did, over 20 kilometers stretch, and I was getting really consistent results. The only difference is that when I did the test, my test, I did 4 tests in a run, and the results were very consistent, very little variation. But when I came back there the other day, or later that night, the results were different. So that's why I don't trust my results 100%. But it was the best I could do. It was really hard to test this, but I did it the same day. Yeah, all these tests was done today. I scratched the test from yesterday. Yeah. So I mean, at least. The Megahjul guys, they when they tested it on dry tarmac, they managed to, I don't know, get lower result on the Nereus. But for me, it wasn't. I mean, I tried to redo it again. They wanted me to redo it. Okay, I redo it, but I will also redo the Hakkapeliitta R2 because they wanted to match them. They wanted to compare, Hakkapeliitta R2 and Nereus, which are very popular among. I mean, at least the Hakkapeliitta R2 are very popular among Tesla owners. And I also believe the Continental are popular, among them. But okay, so so far so good, right? I mean, so far so bad, right, for the Nereus. But then we come to noise, and you can listen to the noise levels, by the way. So I recorded the noise, and I use a constant gain, because if you have variable gain, then the camera will adjust. So I set it to constant gain, and you will hear this. There's a little whistling sound, which actually this car is brand new and it has some issue with the triangle window. So yes, all the clips have some whistling sound, but you can hear that the Hakkapeliitta 8 obviously is the most noisy one, and the R2 was actually pretty noisy, and then the Continental was somewhere in the middle, and then Nereus was the most quiet of them all. I get the impression that the R2 has more rumbling noise than the other ones. Yeah. Obviously, the Hakkapeliitta 8 also, because it's studded, it has the most rumbling of all. But the R2, surprisingly, because it's a studless tire, it was having some rumbling. I'm not sure why. Maybe in the I'm not sure why. But at least when I listened to it when I was driving, the Continental was also feeling pretty quiet. But then when I put on the Nereus, I was like, damn, that is dead silent. Yeah, except for the wind noise, of course. But it was so silent. It was unbelievable silent. I use this sound metering device, and it also records. It logs every 1 second. It will log the sound level, and then I took out on a log, and then I processed the data. But so the average on the Nereus was a whopping 63.5 decibel. This is A weighted. I also tried to measure the C weighting, but it wasn't making any sense. So I think, because the C weight, I did the C weighting to check. Okay, I have to explain a little bit. So A weighting is that's the most common measurement. You will the device will measure, like, weight the frequency, like, band according to what humans hear it. Whereas the C weighting is kind of weird. It will kind of like have more like a flat curve. So yes, obviously, everything was louder in the C weighting, but and then it didn't make sense for me. So I wanted to try the C weighting to maybe detect more rumbling, but that didn't happen. But anyway, so Nereus was very, very quiet, 63.5 decibel only, and the other ones, Continental was noisier, more noisy. Hakkapeliitta R2 also as expected, and also, of course, the Hakka 8, the studded tires, they were very noisy. So you see, 6 decibel, 3 decibel increase is a doubling in intensity, intensity, right? So it's like, it sounds a lot worse. Actually, it is a lot worse. But you also have to consider the price of all these tires, because Nereus is pretty cheap, so it's about half the price of all the other cars. I'm sorry, of the other tires. So it seems to be like a good value for money. But okay, here we're going to talk a little bit more about noise. So here's a graph of the route, and you see that all these this is okay. So you have decibel, right, in the y-axis, and then you have time in seconds. I took out like a 60-second frame. I recorded longer, but I only took out this one, so you can see the detail better. And you see that there is always all of them have this kind of bump. And you know what? That was in the beginning of the route. There is this bridge, and then on the little bridge gap, or under that thing, I don't know what you call it, the link. There's this bump, doosh. So you can hear on all of them. You can see that there's like a spike there, and there's actually several spikes. But overall, it seems like the Nereus tires can chew away those bumps pretty well. So I don't know what to say. Again, I also did many measurements of these, and I just took one of them that I took one of them because they seem to be similar, most of them. But there could be some spikes in some of these. You see that there's like a little bump or something. That could be due to I was being overtaken by a car, especially if it's a truck. They are very noisy. So I didn't bother taking it out. But I mean, on average, I get from time to time overtaken because I drive kind of slow. So it was pretty interesting with the noise levels. What to say. But okay, so I have to tell a little bit about the performance of the Nereus, because so far I've been talking about consumption and noise, right? Which actually many people care about. But I should also mention performance. Now, I haven't tested the Continental that much, but I have used the Hakkapeliitta 8 quite a lot, and also lately I've been using the Nereus tires, because the guys at Megahjul, they said, well, you can borrow the Nereus tires, put them on Optimus Primes. I'm like, okay. So I did some trip to Trondheim and back again, and also did more trips to Stavanger and back again, and also back there. On the way back, I took some really like mountainous road and stuff. So I got a mix of like tarmac, snow, ice. I have like everything. Yeah. What I could say about the Nereus is that it grips pretty, like, I would say excellent grip on snow, and also on dry and wet tarmac. So you've probably seen it on some of the videos so far. When I did the tug of war or whatever. And the steep hill test with the Hummer. I used the Nereus, also the one when I pulled the semi. So I used the Nereus tire. I realized that as long as you have snow, the Nereus will grip, or it will climb quite well. But I also realized that on dry tarmac, it's pretty good. I mean, it was unbelievable good, because when I tried to hammer it with before, if I just step on it and full throttle with the Hakkapeliitta 8 on dry or wet tarmac, it would just spin like yeah, and I went, oh my studs, yeah. So but with the studless, it's just really good grip, yeah. But on the other hand, a couple of weekends ago when I was traveling, where was it going? It was near Vinje. It was E134, and it was late at night, and it was icy and cold. It was like -5 degrees Celsius, but there was a thin layer of ice on the tarmac. And then the car did it. I mean, the tires did it pretty poor. I also had my trailer with me. The trailer was fitted with the Hakkapeliitta 8, but like so far on the trip, those tires were doing quite well as long as we have snow or wet tarmac or whatever. But on ice, So even in turns, like I was doing only 50 kilometers per hour in a turn at 30 miles per hour, I felt like it slid a little bit sideways, like, yeah. So and also I experienced that more last weekend when I went to Trondheim and back again. That was without the trailer. But we also had some icy parts in the mountains, and yeah, from time to time I will feel like the car is sliding a little bit sideways. But on the other hand, when it starts sliding, it doesn't like lose control. It can still keep it there. So you have to be careful, of course, but you just feel on the butt that okay, it's sliding a little bit, but just drop your speed, and then yeah, that's fine. As for the Hakkapeliitta 8 that I'm using for many years, they are very good on snow, but it seems like the studless tires, they have this edge. Yeah, so far, I mean, I used the Hakkapeliitta 8, and then before that I used Hakkapeliitta 7 on Millennium Falcon, and I was always thinking that, yeah, I was looking at the test, right? This is they have the tire test by Motor or NAF or whatever. They always claim that the studded tires, they do it as good as studless tires on snow. So I was thinking, okay, I get the best of everything, right? No, it seems like on snow, studless tires, they have better grip than studded tires. Due to the nature that the studded tires, they have to be. I mean, the rubber has to be harder in order to hold those studs, whereas the studless tires, all of them, Nereus or R2, they are really soft, and they have lots of these like lamellas. Yeah, I still call them lamella. You have those things. Yeah, but the Hakkapeliitta 8, they, like I mentioned, they perform pretty poorly on, I would say mediocre, yeah, on dry and wet tarmac. But on the other hand, on ice, like whatever ice it is, just wet ice, black ice, dry ice, as long as it's ice, is just outstanding. Yeah, I've been like, a couple of years ago, I had my trailer with me, and I had the Hakkapeliitta 8, yeah. So I was driving, towards Rena, going to Trondheim, and there was the, frozen ice, yeah, the type of rain that freezes when it hits the ground, right? Super slippery in the ground. And I was still cruising there, I was almost matching the speed limit, so of course being careful, and then everyone everyone and the mother also was driving so slow. Like they were driving like 30 kilometers per hour, like super slow. But I felt that I have plenty of control, and I try to feel if I have enough grip over there. So I overtook all those slow. They were probably using studless tires, all of them. So yes, in ice, stuff like that, studded is still the best. Yeah. But on the other hand, okay, so the downside with like I mentioned, the studded tires, they are also noisy. Yeah, as we have shown you. So they are noisy, and of course they consume slightly more than like the R2 or whatever, the studless. But on the other hand, when you have like on wet and dry tarmac, you already have pretty good grip. It's just okay, it's not outstanding. You can't just launch it, whatever, but you still have okay grip. Yeah, but of course, I've seen pictures of Teslas, sliding off actually during black ice. Black ice is pretty dangerous. It comes unexpected, and then lots of Teslas. I mean, not lots, but there's been Teslas that have slid off and crashed or whatever, and they had studless tires. So of course, I also sometimes there's been times when I was also caught off guard. I'm like I was sliding a bit, but then because I had studs, it grips, and then I have control again. Yeah. But of course, you have the environmental aspect that studded tires is not good for the environment because they wear down the road more. Yeah, and also of course it causes noise not only for you, but I mean it causes noise for the environment, for people who live there, whatever. So that is also not good. But all right, it's kind of long video, but I'm trying to conclude something here with the test so far. Is that the Nereus tires, they are the cheapest one, really cheap tires, Chinese tires or whatever. They are also the most silent, but they also consume the most energy, unfortunately. Now the Hakkapeliitta R2, on the other hand, they are the most efficient. But they're also the most noisy one among the studless tires, and they are also expensive. And then Continental Viking Contact 6 is like somewhere in the middle there, right? Okay, and then the Hakkapeliitta 8 also has the most noise, and it's also pretty expensive. But again, outstanding on ice. Yeah. So yeah, I think it was at least interesting for me to test all these tires, and I hope you guys enjoy it. And you know what? I think next time I want to test something that many people have been asking me. What is the difference in noise and consumption between the big and the small ones? Yeah, for instance, for Model S, the 21-inch versus 19-inch, or for Model X, 22-inch versus 20-inch. So yes, if you guys are up for it, I can ask Megahjul if they can provide maybe some tires, and then I'm gonna do more tests and see what the difference is. Of course, we know that the bigger wheels tires, they make more noise, and we also know that they consume more energy. But I just want to know how much it is. Can you live with it or not? Yeah. I don't know, but okay, I think that's it for now then. Tire test number 1. So yes, talk to you guys later.